often with regard to mining, you never say never. And sometimes the day after you close a mine is the day you begin drilling again for other ore. And this happened in the 1960s when a Canadian company directed their interests towards Silvermines by the name of Mogul. And they started prospecting in this area, and extensive drilling took place here throughout early 1960s up to 1963, 4 and 5, etc. And it was found that there was a lot of ore in this area, lead of course, and zinc, because they always go together. In advance of opening any mine, you need to know a number of things. Firstly, you need to know where the ore is, how much of it is there, the quality of it as well as the quantity of it. And all of this is done by means of drilling, hundreds and hundreds of holes drilling around the mountainside, which was done in the early 60s, which was carried out by Mogul. And all of these then were analysed and catalogued and stored in what we call a core shed. And we have miles and miles and miles of core, so many miles that if you put all the core logs side by side, they would extend from Neenah to Tipperary town, about 30 miles or more. The biggest single ever mining development then commenced in the 1960s when Mogul, with assistance from the loss-making Irish Lead and Zinc Company, who were obviously delighted with this new interest because they owned the land and had control over the area, they were able to acquire a 25% share. So that was the breakdown: 75% for the Canadian-based Mogul company, and 25% from, and again, Ted Russell became a director of Mogul. They decided to develop what would then be Europe's largest base metal mine in 1968, when it was officially opened by the then Taoiseach, Cork man Jack Lynch, who came here on the 11th of September 1968 and officially opened the mine, which was obviously a tremendous boost for the economy of the area. Firstly, it was the largest industry in North Tipperary, employing over 500 people with good employment, lucrative employment, and we have examples of people virtually trebling their wages overnight by going to work maybe 600 or 700 or 800 feet underground as a miner, having maybe come from the land or come from services or whatever, maybe the previous week. So that was highly exciting. Now, Mogul also invested, of course, in housing as well, and they built some houses in Neenah called Knight's Crescent. Knight coming from the word, the founder was a knight himself, so the estate was called after him, Knight's Crescent. And houses were built as well in Neenah at Ballygraig to facilitate the workers. Strangely enough, there were no new houses built in Silvermines. Now, in the 1950s, 4 houses had been built here to accommodate the loss-making Lead and Zinc Company, but they still remained the property of the Silvermines Lead and Zinc Company. But obviously a decision was made that they should build their houses in Neenah, 5 miles away, which in retrospect was probably sensible. And they built nice quality houses with a touch of Canadian design at Knight's Crescent for, we call them the officials or the executives. And Ballygraig then was where Neenah got its first house building under the NBA, National Building Association. And indicative of the time, of course, and indicative of the availability of oil at a low price, there were no chimneys on those houses and they were flat roofed. So they were really built from a very economic scale, I would think.